Wild nature has never ceased to pose challenges. When love creates life, it is simultaneously a grand struggle for existence. Welcome to this special animal documentary episode for White Valentine. Savage love, the ultimate price of survival. Kwai Magotho sits perched on the eastern edge of the Okavango Delta. A fenceless buffer zone where the scorching sands of the Kalahari Desert are halted by the winding waters of the Angolan Highlands. Here, the threshold between existence and its conclusion is as fragile as the morning mist. A drama of deception is orchestrated with absolute precision. While the rival male remains captivated by the female in her estrus cycle, the inevitable begins to manifest directly behind him. In the blink of an eye, the romantic illusion dissolves. Think is the real predator in this situation? The male lion, using sheer power to assert dominance over his rivals, or the lioness, using her intellect to master the grand scheme? In this realm of intense competition, love is never found in romantic verse. Every individual, upon entering this arena of survival, must wager their most precious possession, their very being. all for the exchange of a supreme privilege, the immortality of their genetic legacy. Every grand struggle on the planet originates from anisogamy. According to Bateman's principle, the success of the male is constrained by the number of thrones he can secure. Conversely, the success of the female resides in genetic quality and the physiological capacity to nurture the next generation. This very imbalance has shaped a classic narrative. The females act as rigorous gatekeepers, holding the keys to evolution. Meanwhile, the males become intense rivals, willing to risk their very existence for the opportunity to be chosen. Within this size, coloration, and secondary characteristics narrate a tale of vitality. Only the most robust individuals, bearing the most superior genetics, possess the fortitude to carry such costly ornaments and expend energy to the point of depletion before the females. This has long unfolded within the dense rainforests of the Congo River Basin in Gabon. In the indigenous legends of the Bantu people, the mandrill is revered as the Ma-masked deity of the deep forest. From a scientific perspective, the vibrant chromatic contrast on their features serves as a visual signal of dominant males, serves as a powerful visual signal. These azure and crimson dermal pigments serve as a sophisticated form of biological signaling. It assists in maintaining the cohesion of massive troops, numbering up to hundreds of individuals, and functions as a measure for the queens to assess the testosterone levels and the genetic vigor of a potential mate. These females grant special attention, prioritizing interaction and grooming for the males, displaying the most radiant scarlet tones. Within the primate realm, grooming is the language of trust, the currency of social status, and the foundation for the acceptance of mating. By choosing the most brilliant kings, the queens ensure that the succeeding generation will inherit the most exceptional genetic advantages. Meanwhile, the tusks of male elephants serve as a testament to exaggerated traits, much like the massive antlers of stags or the radiant plumage of peacocks. Tusks evolved not for defense against predators, but to determine status within their own kingdom. Where the victor secures the ultimate privilege. Access to females and the continuation of their genetic lineage. Sexual dimorphism is also distinctly evident within their skeletal structure. The shoulder blades of males are significantly larger than those of females to withstand the force of impacts from rivals. But attraction is not measured by muscle alone. It is also driven by scent. During the period of must, two specialized physiological glands located near the male elephant's ears secrete an intense, pungent aroma. When two souls find one another, their language of affection becomes remarkably tender. However, all gentleness fades when the male enters the state of must. Evaluate and choose the most intelligent companion, ensuring that their lineage will always be guided by superior and resilient the empire of the lion is distinct, in complete contrast to the compact and agile queens. The monarchs of the savannah possess a crown in the form of a grand mane, surrounding the neck and head. It is a secondary sexual characteristic reflecting vigor and genetic quality. The density and darkness of the mane are directly proportional to high testosterone levels and immune resilience. Within the dynasty, the roles of each gender are also differentiated. Related lionesses form a cohesive pride, pursuing sustenance together. Meanwhile, the dominant male lion devotes his entire energy to safeguarding the pride. He contends against competing rivals. Hyenas constantly linger to seize the bounty of the lionesses. Or nomadic lions eyeing the throne. Or occasionally, the male lion will also participate in the pursuit of megafauna. Yet nature never bestows all beauty upon a single side. There always exist dramatic exceptions where conventional rules are inverted. The female spotted hyena is the dominant figure. They are larger, more muscular, and possess a fierce instinct that far exceeds that of the males. This is a strict matriarchal society. Where social standing is inherited like a dynasty, and the highest-ranking females always receive priority access to precious nourishment after every hunt. A similar phenomenon occurs among most raptor species. Upon the misty peaks of the Alps, the female golden eagle weighs approximately 25% more and possesses far more powerful talons than the male. That massive stature serves as a sturdy shield, protecting the fragile eggs and chicks from any intruders or the severity of nature. Within the wild kingdom, love often commences with a strenuous struggle. Intrasexual competition occurs when the males contend to secure control over vital resources or exclusive access to females. This immense pressure has driven the evolution of extraordinary arsenals. And a massive physical stature that completely surpasses the females. The southern elephant seal weighs up to 4 tons and exceeds 6 meters in length, standing 3 or even 4 times larger than the females within their harem. The peculiar proboscis serves as a powerful acoustic amplifier. September marks the breeding season for the southern elephant seal. The objective is singular: to become the beach master. Fewer than 1% of alpha males secure the genetic keys for the entire succeeding generation, while hundreds of other males are relegated to perpetual solitude. As for the beachmaster, he abstains entirely from nourishment and hydration throughout 3 months of guarding the harem. A third of his body weight is surrendered in exchange for the privilege of immortality within the genetic flow. As the equatorial sun radiates across the coastal mudflats of Southeast Asia, within the fleeting interval between the tides, the male fiddler crabs must race against the clock. The massive claw accounts for nearly half of their total body mass. A potent form of visual signaling intended to discourage rivals in the struggle for burrows, while simultaneously appealing to the females. Yet that very claw remains a harsh paradox. The males must exert double the effort to sustain their existence. In contrast to intrasexual selection, intersexual selection is when the supreme scepter is returned to the females. And the males must display their ornaments to captivate the queens. Within the vast tropical forests of the Indian subcontinent, as the heavy moisture of the southwest monsoon begins to drift through the parched forest canopy, distant thunder resounds. Serving as the opening bell for one of nature's most magnificent and prideful displays. The Indian peafowl is the national emblem of India, intertwined with the imagery of Lord Kartikeya and eternal beauty within ancient Sanskrit legends. Furthermore, according to the good genes hypothesis, their cumbersome and vivid tale is a declaration of genetic vigor. However, the handicap principle also suggests that this masterpiece of tail feathers is essentially a costly disadvantage. It is a massive physical burden that makes the peacock slower and more easily perceived by those who hunt. Conversely, it is this very disadvantage that creates the ultimate value of the genetic covenant. If a peacock can survive, standing tall and so radiant despite the vital burden it bears. Then it serves as the most honest evidence of a resilient immune system and an unmatched inner strength. Yet, while most male birds accentuate the brilliant beauty of their physique, within the humid rainforest corridors along the eastern coast of Australia, the satin bowerbird opts to captivate a potential mate through intellect and sophistication. The males forego vibrant hues to concentrate their entire resource pool on constructing these palaces of courtship known as bowers. All must adhere to an absolute aesthetic requirement: the color of ocean blue, a rare indicator bearing witness to the unmatched perseverance and foraging skills of the male. As the female assesses the structural integrity of the twig walls and the sophistication of the chromatic arrangement, she is evaluating the cognitive ability of her prospective partner. A flawless bower serves as unadulterated evidence of a sharp mind, fine motor coordination, and superior intelligence. Venturing further toward the sun-drenched Caribbean waters, the island of Cayo Santiago in Puerto Rico serves as a primate sanctuary. Since the year 1938, the initial primate individuals were transported from India to establish one of the world's most enduring research stations. This is the realm of the Rhesus macaque. This primate species served as a vital bridge, enabling humanity to discover the rhesus factor blood group system, as well as advancements in social psychology research. Within the troop structure at Cayo Santiago, rhesus individuals navigate a rigorous matriarchal hierarchy. The queens frequently scrutinize social disputes and alliance dynamics, and they grant specific preference to males in their middle years. To these females, these seasoned veterans embody a flawless equilibrium of physical prowess and social wisdom, attributes that ensure the enduring stability of the dynasty. Occasionally, a queen may engage in bold liaisons with novel or immigrant males. By seeking out diverse genetic lineages, she constructs a resilient safeguard to facilitate inbreeding avoidance. Following the phase of courtship, pairs begin to enter the most critical stage. Beneath the sweltering heat and the watchful presence of those who hunt, the wild kingdom reveals an unyielding truth. Affection is a tactic, and mating is the means for the genome to shatter the shackles of time. As the fiery dawn stains the acacia groves of the Serengeti Plains crimson, a new world order is once again established. The system of polygyny virtually becomes the ultimate rule of engagement. This is a realm of absolute possession, where a single individual dominates, or a powerful coalition will secure the throne to oversee the harem. This is the female defense polygyny empire of the lion. Due to a low success rate of fertilization, a lion pair maintains a rigorous reproductive cycle, engaging in mating up to 50 times each day to ensure the pride's future. Yet nearly 3,000 such encounters are required merely to ensure a single lion cub navigates the complexities of the savannah within the matriarchal pride. The dominant male is largely excluded from the pursuit of sustenance, as well as direct nurturing. Instead, he directs his entire existence and vital energy toward responsibilities serving the public good. The fatherhood of the lion remains a ceaseless struggle between absolute protection and uncompromising advancement. Meanwhile, among zebras, the stallion transforms his very harem into a fortress. In reality, this represents an exceptionally stable social structure. The stallion functions as an authoritarian protector, a gatekeeper preventing any intrusion from the bachelor herds. The struggle of the zebra is one of the most intense manifestations of intrasexual selection. As the operational sex ratio becomes strained during the migration season, confrontations erupt. All such forceful efforts are solely to safeguard mating exclusivity and preserve the integrity of the harem. These bonds are so resilient that the females often remain connected to one another. And the male for many years, forming a closed genetic network where the victor secures everything. And the defeated is left only with enduring marks amidst the dust of the savannah. Conversely, polygyny in the impala is categorized as resource defense polygyny. This system operates based on the uneven distribution of resources. When sustenance and water are not evenly spread, but concentrated in specific clusters, it creates a high environmental potential for polygyny. The most superior males become powerful real estate owners, monopolizing the most prime territories. Females are compelled to gather at these oases, and immediately they fall under the genetic control of the territorial master. A dominant male impala can hold a massive harem of 10 to 50 individuals. Yet, throughout the breeding season, he scarcely eats or sleeps. In order to patrol the borders and engage in herding, excessive energy depletion causes the physical condition of the dominant male to decline rapidly, and their reigns are often remarkably brief. However, in the world of the impala, a brilliant summer as a ruler, passing on genes to 50 descendants, remains a more glorious victory than an entire lifetime quietly spent on the sidelines of the savannah. Within the shrublands of South Africa or the desert regions of Namibia, the rhinoceros establishes territorial polygyny. Mature males live solitary lives, strictly safeguarding a specific territory. Meanwhile, the females maintain a broader home range, often traversing the territories of various kings. But when a female in estrus enters the borders, the tranquility of the giant is interrupted. The affection of the rhinoceros does not commence with gentle gestures, but rather through a confrontation. The bluff and bluster ritual serves as a most demanding test of stamina. If the male lacks the persistence to endure her presence, he is immediately excluded from the genetic opportunity. During the interludes of the struggle, the male utilizes the Flamen response to analyze hormone concentrations, thereby precisely identifying the optimal moment for conception. The mating of the rhinoceros can endure for 20 to 90 minutes. One of the longest durations among large mammals, ensuring fertilization and guaranteeing the emergence of a new giant generation. If polygyny represents an arms race of quantity, then monogamy stands as an investment strategy centered on quality. This unfolds upon the serene Scandinavian lakes of northern Europe, where the coastal stretches of Sweden and Denmark remain immersed in late winter slumber. From the timeless ballets of Tchaikovsky to the fairy tales of Andersen, the swan has always served as the absolute symbol of purity, nobility, and everlasting fidelity. A cultural archetype for human companionship throughout the centuries. Do you believe in the eternal love of the swan? Or is it all merely an instinct for survival? Share your perspective in the comments and stay tuned for the scientific insights coming up in our next content. The bond of the mute swan is a journey of synchronized biological rhythms. The courtship display of a devoted pair is a prolonged and captivating dance of enticement. The heart silhouette is a genetic cipher we recognize as attachment. When an intruder is repelled from the territory, the pair will collectively perform the triumph ceremony. Frequent additional bonding occurs to reinforce the social connection. And when existence reaches its conclusion, the state of mourning can lead an individual to decline, cease nourishment, and stop grooming in profound solitude. However, after a season of sorrow, the female can secure a new companion after merely 3 weeks, while the Buick's swan may require up to 3 years to once again open its heart. And if reproductive efforts do not succeed, the rate of mate switching can rise from 1% to as much as 9% for the partner to seek a more compatible counterpart. Yet within the Billabong marshes of Australia, the black swan narrates a different tale of affection. An affection that transcends gender. As many as 33% of black swan individuals are same-sex oriented. And nearly 25% of all pairings within the population consist of male-male pairs. To fulfill the parental instinct, one male within the pair temporarily establishes a bond and mates with a female. However, once the swan completes her egg-laying within the nest, the male-male pair secures the site and assumes the responsibility of incubation themselves. With even greater resolve, these male-male pairs utilize their physical prowess to displace other heterosexual pairs. An astonishing paradox is that the success rate of raising offspring among male, same-sex black swan pairs reaches 80%, while this figure for heterosexual pairs is only 30%. Two robust males signify a doubled capacity for territorial defense. They occupy the most resource-rich lands, repelling all adversaries and safeguarding the cygnets more effectively against any environmental challenges. Within the mammalian world, monogamy accounts for less than 10%. Because nature has bestowed upon females the capacity for pregnancy and lactation, inadvertently granting a permit for the male to depart immediately upon fulfilling his genetic commitment. Yet the wolf has discarded that permit to sign a covenant of fidelity. Monogamy is a survival strategy intertwined with the interests of the entire pack, with the focal point being the reproductive exclusivity of the alpha pair. By suppressing the reproduction of subordinate members, the wolf pack creates a team of agile individuals, unburdened by the care of offspring, to focus their entire collective strength on large-scale pursuits. Furthermore, the social organization of the wolf is also highly adaptable. Depending on the distribution of prey and the extent of territory, they may live solitarily like specters, exist in enduring pairs, or congregate into powerful, extended families, when the objective is the continuation of an entire lineage. The steadfast bond and iron discipline of the alpha pair are weapons sharper than tooth and claw, enabling them to hold dominion over the most demanding regions on the world map. As the initial rays of sunlight penetrate the dense mist of the Southeast Asian tropical forests, a peculiar symphony begins to resonate throughout the expanse. Gibbon species maintain an exceptionally low degree of sexual dimorphism, a characteristic typically associated with the structure of social monogamy. Yet, fidelity within this species remains merely relative. Despite maintaining socially resilient pair bonds, females occasionally engage in discrete extra-pair copulations beyond the territory. The consequence is a phenomenon known as paternal uncertainty, or extra-pair paternity. While believing they are preserving their progeny, the male gibbon is actually becoming a voluntary guardian for the genetic legacy of another. Once again, nature demonstrates that behind the most steadfast vows lies a biological chess game filled with intricate calculations and deception. In the paradoxical corners of evolution, ancient rules are swept away to make room for a daring new order, polyandry. This system is frequently accompanied by sex role reversal. Here, the male becomes the one to shoulder most or all of the responsibility for nurturing the young. The female emerges as the gender with higher reproductive potential and must engage in intense rivalry with other females to secure a male. This results in reversed sexual dimorphism. Owing to their ability to walk upon the water, the jacana are referred to as Jesus birds. Among the 8 existing species of jacana, as many as 7 maintain the polyandry system. Affection here is an act of encroachment. On average, a female is as much as 82% larger than the male. Specifically, in the pheasant-tailed jacana, this disparity reaches 100%. They engage in intense confrontations to safeguard the most resource-rich marshlands, establishing an empire that encompasses the territories of multiple males. They practice both simultaneous polyandry and sequential polyandry, mating with a series of male consorts before leaving the eggs for them to nurture on their own. Void of fidelity, uncentered upon the male, or submissive to the female. Promiscuity is a system defined by pure and detached genetic exchange. Along the eastern shores of Lake Tanganyika, in 1960, Jane Goodall transformed humanity's understanding of primates. They are proficient in the utilization of tools, establishing intricate political alliances, and also possess complex facets within their nature. Chimpanzee society operates under a rigorous patriarchal system. Authority is defined by assertiveness and intense confrontations to secure the alpha position. Both males and females are prepared to mate with numerous different partners. This behavioral fluidity is essentially a vital chess match, orchestrated by the females to counter those male chimpanzees who prioritize their own genetic legacy, which can lead to the displacement of existing offspring. By mating with the majority of the males within the troop, the female instills a seed of uncertainty within the minds of these primates and compels them to safeguard the infants who may be their own lineage. South of the Congo River lies the world of the bonobo. In contrast to the calculations of the chimpanzee, the bonobo operates a matriarchal system to completely disarm the assertiveness of the males. Visible biological signals, known as the tumescent state, creating an irresistible allure for the males. They maintain this appealing appearance for an exceptionally long duration to obscure the true moment of concealed ovulation, combined with encouraging the females to gather into tight-knit alliances, sufficient to deter any coercion from the males. For the bonobo, intimacy is the adhesive that resolves all tension, a dispute over nourishment, a friction regarding a resting spot. All are settled harmoniously through affectionate gestures. The difference resides in more developed amygdala and limbic cortex systems, allowing the bonobo to manage frustration and heighten empathy. A testament to the evolution of emotional intelligence. By minimizing the risk of harm from confrontations, the bonobo maintains remarkable stability for nurturing the succeeding generation. Occasionally, the most enduring existence does not belong to the most powerful, but to those who understand how to connect and care the most. From the season of courtship to the season of birth, the natural world has witnessed fierce battles for the future of the lineage. And as the new generation emerges, a new chapter, more brutal and magnificent, begins to unfold. This is parental investment, a theory established by evolutionary biologist Robert Trivers in 1972. According to this principle, any expenditure of resources, time, and energy toward one offspring today is a high-stakes gamble traded against the parent's own survival and their ability to produce future offspring. Within this framework, maternal care is the most prevalent form found in mammals. Constrained by finite energy reserves, every mother must make a strategic choice between quantity and quality. Will she produce a vast number of offspring but invest minimally in each litter? Or will she bring forth only a few young but provide a level of care that borders on absolute devotion? Of course, in the grand script of nature, there are also devoted fathers who dedicate their entire lives to nurturing their young. Paternal care is shaped by the paternal certainty hypothesis and the urgent demands of the environment. In the world of the seahorse, the definitions of gender and the paternal vocation are completely overturned by a unique biological phenomenon: male pregnancy. It all begins with a sophisticated courtship dance, as the female transfers her eggs into the brood pouch on the male's abdomen. This pouch functions as a true uterus, equipped with a dense network of capillaries. Through the process of osmoregulation, the father adjusts the salinity of the fluid within the pouch, preparing the young to adapt to the external seawater environment. He even provides oxygen and energy-rich nutrients such as lipids and calcium to the embryos through a system analogous to the placenta in mammals. To optimize time, while the father is occupied with a pregnancy lasting from 2 to 4 weeks, the mother is free to begin accumulating energy and producing a new clutch of eggs. This division of labor allows seahorses to breed continuously, maximizing the number of descendants in an environment teeming with predators. Even more sophisticated is biparental care. Instead of allowing a single individual to succumb to the exhaustion of multitasking, pairs engage in a rational cooperation and division of labor. Given the exceptionally high nutritional demands of the young, cooperation among raptor pairs is a prerequisite for success. A male eagle may spend the entire day soaring on thermal updrafts in search of prey, while the female remains at the nest to regulate the temperature and tear the food into small pieces for the fledglings. Moving beyond simple pair alliances, the natural world also operates on a social order even more altruistic: aloparental care. Here, the theory of inclusive fitness, established by biologist W.D. Hamilton, is enforced as a supreme law. In the African wild dog, these helpers are often the offspring from previous litters, because they share a significant portion of their genetic makeup with their siblings. Nurturing the next generation is an indirect yet effective method of propagating their own genome. In return, these young individuals provide childcare labor, exchanging their services for the right to reside within the safety of the family territory and the protection of the pack. Moreover, this period serves as a phase for accumulating invaluable experience. They learn the mechanics of denning, the art of the hunt, and the skills of rearing young before truly venturing into the independent game of reproduction. However, the natural world is more complex and darker than it appears on the surface. This tension is explained by evolutionary biologist Robert Trivers through the theory of parent-offspring conflict. A mother shares exactly 50% of her genes with each offspring. Consequently, her optimal strategy is to distribute resources equitably, balancing the needs of her current offspring against the potential for future lives she might bear. But for the individual offspring, it shares 100% of its genes with itself, and only 50% with its full siblings. Selfish interest compels it to demand more investment from its parents than they are biologically willing to provide. And so, when resources become scarce, some offspring are forced to eliminate their most direct competitors, even if they share the same bloodline. This is the phenomenon of siblicide, which is categorized into two primary forms based on frequency. For the mother, the peak of parent-offspring conflict is the weaning conflict. When the offspring is old enough to begin consuming solid food, the mother needs to recover her physical condition and reproductive cycle, while the child is unwilling to let go of the breast, regardless of how much it might drain the mother's vital reserves. This tug of war can last for months. This conflict can transform into infanticide when raising the current offspring directly threatens the mother's life. This is the most common form in social animals, most famously and typically seen in lions. According to the sexual selection hypothesis, a nursing female enters lactational amenorrhea, which halts ovulation and conception. Driven by the sexual selection hypothesis, a new dominant male may displace offspring from the previous pride leader to ensure the survival of his own genetic line. This biological pressure triggers the female to return to her reproductive cycle sooner. This biological strategy can even come from the biological parents themselves. When the stability of the herd is disrupted by a change in the dominant male, through spontaneous abortion or embryonic resorption, the mare's body automatically terminates the pregnancy. More painfully, in some cases after the young are born, the mare may reabsorb the energy of the offspring through a biological process known as filial infanticide to ensure her own survival for future breeding. In the natural kingdom, when the light of life confronts the shadows of doom, love is no longer an act of tenderness. It transforms into a weapon, a cruel scale where the death of one individual becomes the launchpad for the existence of another. This is where the most brutal scripts are written by the very hand of Mother Nature. For some other species, love demands an even more extreme sacrifice. This is a phenomenon known as postmating consumption, a phenomenon most commonly observed in certain insect species. The praying mantis is an icon of patience and stillness in Eastern martial arts. But love between a pair of praying mantises does not lead to a peaceful home. Instead, it is a journey into the jaws of death. The male becomes a vital nutrient source, supporting the female's energy needs for the next generation. The father's sacrifice, whether forced or instinctive, becomes the ultimate nutritional gift for the next generation. Nature always designs unrewarded solutions to solve the most complex puzzles of survival, even when an organism lacks its other half. This is the moment of parthenogenesis, the ability to self-clone to maintain a lineage without the need for fertilization. A strategy that helps species overcome the adversity of geographical isolation. This is how the last descendants of prehistoric giant reptiles survive. The Komodo dragon is an endemic species living only on the scorching volcanic islands of Indonesia. Amidst the harshness of a landscape fragmented by the ocean, they employ the mechanism of automatic parthenogenesis to combat isolation. Instead of being fertilized by sperm, a Komodo female's egg cell fuses with a polar body. A sister cell containing genetic material that is normally discarded during meiosis to restore the diploid set of chromosomes. However, this is a bold and risky genetic gamble. Due to the specific ZW sex determination system in reptiles, where females carry the ZW chromosome pair and males are ZZ. This self-fertilization process can only produce male offspring with homozygous Z gene pairs. This mechanism allows a founding female to produce male offspring, eventually enabling intrapopulation breeding to re-establish the colony. While it increases homozygosity, it serves as a critical evolutionary safeguard against total extinction. It is a brutal trade-off of genetic diversity in exchange for the ability to re-establish an entire population, ensuring that the dragon's reign will never fade upon the desolate sands of the Pacific. But this ultimate power does not stop at the arid islands of reptiles. It also weaves its way down to the vibrant coral reefs and the deep blue abysses of the ocean. Beneath the warm ocean currents, the world of sharks is facing an unprecedented crisis as overfishing pressure from humans fractures population networks and makes males increasingly rare. At least 12 species of cartilaginous fish. From the strangely shaped giant scalloped hammerhead to the slender beauty of the zebra shark, have implemented the mechanism of automatic parthenogenesis. Their egg cells either duplicate their own genetic material or fuse with a polar body to restore a diploid state. And just like the Komodo dragon, the resulting offspring are essentially half-clones with an explosively increased level of homozygosity. According to the theory of inbreeding depression, this leads to the risks of diminished physical fitness, weakened immune systems, and a shortened lifespan. But in the gamble of evolution, a flickering ray of hope is still better than absolute extinction. The discovery of virgin births in placental shark species was a shocking phenomenon. It shattered the perceived barriers of genomic imprinting, a mechanism that scientists previously believed existed only to prevent parthenogenesis in mammals. It proves a steely truth. When backed into a corner, biology will find a way out. In the heart of a vast ocean that is slowly emptying, the females have risen to hold the key to existence, maintaining the genetic flame themselves, even when the kingdom is left with them alone against the violent waves. But after all, the brilliant dances of love, or the sophisticated genetic chess matches, we must face a harsher reality looming over every corner of the planet. This is the Anthropocene, an era where the boundary between the wild and the urban is blurred by smog, plastic, and bottomless ambition. It is no longer the males or females of any species, but humans who hold the ultimate power over life and death. The vibrant blue ornaments of the satin bowerbird once consisted of parrot feathers or butterfly wings. Now they have been replaced by plastic bottle caps, straws, and discarded packaging. Palaces of love are now built on trash. This forced adaptation is a steely indictment of the distortion of instinct under human impact. Meanwhile, the mating calls of primates are thinning out amidst the roar of chainsaws. Habitat fragmentation caused by oil palm plantations and illegal logging has turned vast genetic empires into isolated islands. When chimpanzee alliances can no longer find one another, the result is inbreeding depression, a slow death sentence written in corrupted genetic code. The history of primatology at Gombe is threatened not by predators, but by forest-penetrating roads in the name of economic development. Furthermore, climate change is creating a maddening genetic script. Rising global temperatures mean that nesting beaches are producing only females. A kingdom without males is a kingdom heading straight for the brink of extinction. This is when humans must intervene with in situ conservation efforts. But can we outrun the pace of global warming? The revival of the gray wolf in Yellowstone, after being exterminated by humans in the last century, is proof that if we take a step back, nature will find its own way to heal. The struggle for survival is no longer just a battle between predator and prey, or between male and female. It is a fight to hold on to a small place in a world dominated by the human footprint. wild love, the compassion of a mother turtle, or the reconciliation of the bonobo, all will become nothing more than dusty historical records if we do not change how we treat this planet. In the grand journey of love and genetics within nature, every behavior, whether noble or gruesome, is a sophisticated strategy honed over millions of years to protect the survival of the genome against the harsh and indifferent flow of entropy. To you, what is the greatest form of love? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share the video, as well as subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next fascinating journeys.